This episode is brought to you by our patrons. Thank you so much for being a patron. And if you're not one and you'd like to become a patron, just jump on over to patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. Now, on with our show. Dude, guess what?
What?
iPhones. They got announced. They did.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but new iPhones.
That's wild.
So I bet you can guess what we're going to talk about today.
Apple event.
Yeah.
I don't really even know what to say, but I'm having a very good day. I'm spitting this straight from the dome. It's a poem, but I wrote the shit down the show. I know how it goes. It's time to do some crazy tech, son. Get it done. This is fun. Normally this would be a day that I would run, but we had to hit record for the pod as a nod to the god Steve Jobs. Yesterday was high speed.
Wow, that's great. Nailed it. Yes, so pretty much not really much else to talk about except for this iPhone stuff. So I don't know, did you have anything that you wanted to mention about your weekend, or do you want to just jump right into this?
Nah, we'll skip all the weekend stuff. We'll just do the event yesterday. I mean, there is more than the iPhone. They did mention the mini HomePod right off the top.
Yes.
And I was like,
yeah,
what? I didn't hear any rumors about this.
I heard a few last minute that this might actually get released, but let's get into this and get past the little music buffer thingy mabobber and start talking about it.
Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike.
So when I say I didn't hear any rumors about it, I mean Mike didn't mention it.
Yes. You know, it's because honestly, I don't have high expectations for one part of the HomePod Mini, and I was proven right. The price is Apple pricing.
Yeah.
And in comparison to other products, yes, it is a good deal. You can't even get AirPods 2 for less than what you can get this HomePod Mini. And is it cool? Absolutely. This thing is awesome.
Yeah.
It's $99, and it essentially is, it's an Alexa Dot. Oh, I triggered it.
No.
It's a Dot, but it's Apple branded, and of course it's got some Apple spin on it. It's got this little glowy light at the top.
I really
to me,
like
it kind of looks
light.
like, yeah, you know what it looks like to me?
What's that?
Have you seen I don't know if it's a pear or an orange, but occasionally you'll go to the produce section in a store and you'll see the fruit wrapped in this like weird like meshy looking like thing.
Oh.
It kind of looks like that when you take the fruit out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I saw that and I was like, I wonder if there's an orange inside of it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it's probably an apple.
It's definitely grid wrapped. For
yes.
sure. I called it the HomePod Ball, and then they called it the HomePod Mini, which is a way less fun name.
Right. No kidding. The ball should have been the ball. Toss it around. I will say this. The one thing that I am excited about, and it's about time Apple did this. They should have honestly done this years ago because they've had the infrastructure to do it, is announcements. That's been something that's been around on an Alexa for a really long time, where you can announce to specific things, like specific devices. And I just think that's a really neat feature, and it's nice to see Apple starting to integrate that.
Yeah.
My question, though, is, do we have to have a HomePod, at least one, to be able to take advantage of this? Or is this something that Yo Dingus is going to be able to do for us without HomePods.
Oh, the announcement feature. Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I will say the cool thing about the announcement feature was like it just popping into every device that's on the network, like including AirPods or whatever. So like they
Yeah.
showed a teenager sitting on the couch watching or listening to whatever, and like, she hears the announcement too. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's how it should work.
Yeah, definitely really, really cool additive to the whole thing. So I think that's why I'm really hoping it comes to um, every device and you don't have to have a HomePod, because that's just a really cool feature. That now, my Echoes, my Echo Dots do that, which is really cool. And it's also kind of funny because I'll see text pop up on the screen of what somebody has announced in the house. And sometimes it translates it quite hilariously, but most of the time it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So, um, the other thing that was the big announcement, of course, was the iPhones. These things, as per usual, are, they're just beautiful products. I love them. I mean, what's really weird about this version, though, Chad, to me, is that there really isn't a ton of major breakthroughs. And I think that a lot of people were predicting this, that this wasn't going to be a huge year over the last year's iPhones. But there's some really cool subtle things that I like the flat edges on the phone look so nice.
Yes. I'm so glad to have the flat edges back. And here's what I like about the flat edge that I didn't even realize I was going to like about the flat edge. The screen can go all the way to the edge, and you don't have that roll of the glass at the edge of the screen. Like it just goes to the edge and it connects with the frame, and that's it.
Yeah. I just really like the look. I've had an iPad Pro for probably 6 months now, and it has those flat edges. And to me, the product just looks super crisp and super clean when you have the screen and then all of a sudden the edge just drops off.
Yeah.
There's nothing sticking out from the side. It makes the device just look, I don't know, more futuristic, even though this is a throwback to the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 5.
Right.
It's to me, it's just a better looking device in the long run. I think it'll also have extra benefits. And you pointed this out during the actual event. They have a feature on the back called MagSafe, which they are reusing that word from the old MacBook days. But it's an array of magnets on the back that things can snap into it, like chargers and cases. And what you pointed out with the cases, I thought was actually pretty smart on the part of manufacturers of cases. Cases have always had to lock around the phone and hold on to the phone. Now with this magnet on the back, you don't even have to have an edge on the case.
Yeah.
It could literally just be a back phone protector, or it could be a case that goes nicely up tight against the edges and doesn't wrap around and obstruct the front screen at all, because that magnet holds it on there.
It doesn't have to come over the front at all. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. I think that magnet on the back is going to be used for so many things that we haven't even thought of and Apple hasn't even thought of. I could just see all kinds of cool things that the manufacturers are going to be doing with this. So I can't wait to see what people come up with and what cool gadgets they come up with to make these phones stick to things and other things stick to the phones.
Yeah, so I was reading some comment board stuff this morning, and a lot of people were talking about how, with wireless charging, you can't super easily use your phone if you're also wirelessly charging. But with a charger that kind of sticks to the back, and it's yet to be seen like how secure it sticks, but like you could pick your phone up and hold it and not worry that like the charger's moving around or whatever. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah, I didn't even think about
yeah, of
that.
course. Like that totally makes sense. But like again, I don't know how strong the magnets are, but like, do you think I could like let my phone magnet itself to like my microwave so that I can have have a recipe pulled up in front of me while I'm cooking? Or like, I don't know if they're that strong.
Yeah, I kind of wonder that too. And how will it work on a flat surface with the camera bump? So that'll be something interesting to see. Can you stick it to a refrigerator? Can you stick it to, I've seen people do this where they have those magnetic cases and they're working out. They'll stick it to like the rack that they're working out
Sure,
on. That way they don't have to set it on the
sure.
floor. Um,
Well, so something
yeah,
like that,
I'm super curious.
something that's skinny, you don't have to worry about the camera bump. But
Right.
and if you have a case on it, you have to worry about the camera bump less. But I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely something I'm super pumped about. I can tell you this much though, Chad, with the welding and the grinding that I do whenever I make videos, I have a feeling that I'm going to have a ring of metallic bits on the back of my
Well,
phone,
so
just like we had on both of our phones whenever we were making or installing your trailer
yeah, so
hitch.
we discovered, and I don't know how many people know this, but underneath your, when you just tap to wake, and you have the flashlight and the camera, quote unquote, buttons towards the bottom of the screen, like those both have magnets under them. And
Yeah.
and yeah, we had a ton of metal shavings that were finding their way to those particular spots of our phones.
It was kind of
It
funny.
was, yeah. Because who knew? But
But yeah, so there's basically the typical phones that are coming out. There's the what I call the normal phone that most people will probably purchase, which is the iPhone 12. This one replaces the iPhone 11, and it's going to have the same screen size as the iPhone 11. It's going to have a 6.1-inch screen, but this year every single phone in the lineup for all the iPhone 12s has the Super Retina display. So that means that they're OLED screens.
yeah,
They have actually gotten rid of that that liquid crystal display. I can't remember what they called it, but it was kind of a breakthrough in the LED technology. But it costs less than what OLED did. But that's also probably why you see a small hike in the price for the iPhone 12 as opposed to what the iPhone 11 came
I
out.
think my 10R has that one. It's the liquid retina.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You've got that. Yeah. Is that what it's called? The liquid
Yeah,
retina?
yeah, liquid
Yeah.
retina HD
So,
versus super retina XDR.
yeah. Pew, pew,
Pew, pew, pew.
pew. Um, so it's going to have, of course, the cameras. It's going to have two cameras on the 12, and also they announced a new mini, which will also have two cameras. The mini is what, 5.4
It
inches?
is.
So it's one of those phones that people who just don't want to have a 6-inch phone, they have an option now. And to me, by them putting the word mini on the end of the iPhone 12, it's kind of a cool thing because they can continue to make a small phone for people who want them. And they don't have to confuse the lineup.
Sure.
Like if somebody goes into a store and they're like, I just want the small iPhone. Which one is the small iPhone? Well, mini, super easy. Everybody knows what it
Yeah.
is. It's kind of a cute little phone, even though technically 5.4 inches just several years ago was considered a big phone
Yeah.
in the iPhone
Yeah.
world. But times have changed and people want bigger and bigger.
And by the way, only because you used the word cute, they could not have found a bigger human being to hold the mini in their video.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, like that guy was massive. But
Yeah.
also the mini has the two cameras on the back. Like my
Yes.
10R just had the one. And at the time, like,
Hmm.
even with the 11s, like, did the 11 have, the 11 had two, the Pro had three, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so everything newer than the 10R has two cameras, I guess. But like, I think it's awesome that the Mini still has two cameras because they very easily could have said, well, on the Mini, we're just going to do one. And that's what you get
Yeah.
with the Mini.
And,
And that would have been fine, but that's not what they did.
hmm. Right. And honestly, I think it's cool what they've done with the entire lineup is the specs between going from the Mini, which is the least expensive at $699, up to the 12 Pro Max, which starts at $1,099. Um, the specs aren't a huge difference. So for instance, things that are common are like the processor. They didn't skimp on the processors whenever they went to all the different phones. So no matter what phone you get, you're going to get an amazing processor, the
Yeah.
A14, which is an A14 Bionic, which is it seems, I mean, based off the giant words that they use every year, it seems amazing.
Right.
And I believe them with their giant words. But you get other things like the camera technology is different between the Pros and the 12s, but it's not a huge difference. Basically, if you are just an average, everyday person who carries your phone around and takes photos and wants crisp, clean pictures, you're going to get it no matter what iPhone 12 you go with. You're going to get a really good camera. Yeah. And so that's what I like about Apple is no matter which one you go with, whether you go with a $700 phone or an $1,100 phone, you're going to get high quality, a high quality product, regardless of what you go
Yeah.
with. You just get extra little benefits and you can weigh the costs of them, depending on what you want. Like for me, for example, I'm going to go with, when we haven't talked about this model, is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, because I want the biggest screen I can get. And I also want the best camera options I can get for my YouTube channel. Sure. Where my kids, they might not need that. And so if the iPhone 12 is a good deal for them, then the two cameras are going to be just as good, but they're also going to get that super fast processor that I get in the 12 Pro Max.
Right. And so it makes sense for you because you are in an actual editing program talking about color balancing and white grading and all the other things that you talk about that I'm like, yeah, Mike, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm following 1,000,000%. And so like, yeah, to have all the little extras totally makes sense for you. And that upgrade makes sense. And you can justify it because you have a YouTube channel that makes you some money.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that does make a big difference.
And in that sense, even the Pro wording makes sense. I mean,
yes, yeah.
Because you kind of, in a sense, are a professional, like, videographer type person, sort of.
Well, thank you, Chad. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So one thing that actually we haven't mentioned at all, and they mentioned very first, is 5G. Everybody's getting 5G. 5G for everybody. Yeah. So what blew me away about this, Chad, is that there are two different versions of 5G that are out there. There's a regular 5G, and then there's something called mmWave.
Yes.
And mmWave is basically the technology where 5G gets absolutely crazy. It's where it gets insane speeds that you can download videos in seconds instead of minutes. And it's just insanely fast. However, mmWave is not reliable when it comes to you going in and out of buildings or moving behind objects. It is something that you're going to see a lot, like in stadiums or in specific areas, until they figure out how to basically get that type of technology to transmit through walls and buildings and stuff, you're only going to get snippets of millimeter wave. But the cool part is that they didn't skimp out, and they could have basically just put a regular 5G antenna in there, or put only the millimeter wave in the highest end model like some people thought. They put the same 5G cellular antennas in all the iPhone models. So if you are in an area where you can take advantage of that millimeter wave, that super fast technology, you're going to be able to with any of the models you get with the iPhone 12, which I think is super cool, because ultimately this technology is going to be out there. It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, it may take 4 years before it's in your local area.
Yeah.
But ultimately, iPhones are what's going to push the cellular phone companies to push this product out more and more and more, because let's be honest, anytime Apple does something, there's millions of people who jump on the bandwagon and buy the product right away. And if all of their brand new phones have it, here in a year, there's going to be probably 60% of the iPhone population, or whatever the number might be, is going to have a 5G phone wanting to use 5G technology.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to the extent that they even had the CEO from Verizon on stage yesterday during the event. So like, yeah, like the iPhone pushes the cell companies to do things. The other thing I thought was cool, which maybe this is normal, but I've only recently become kind of a tech geek since the creation of this podcast. Your phone will automatically toggle between 5G and LTE depending on what you're doing. Like if you don't need super fast speeds, it won't try to grab them, but also like where you are, it won't be searching for it if it just doesn't exist or whatever. And so they said that would help save battery life. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's just another thing that Apple does that is they're really good about making their products work fast, but conserve battery life at the same time. And we saw a huge jump in the iPhone 11 with that particular type of battery conserving technology. And I think that's going to play a part in this too, because 5G can burn through your battery pretty quick from what I've heard of all the people who have had 5G, like on a Samsung phone. But I mean, I think Apple probably has got this dialed in. I mean, they tested this thing in some like wicked room that looked like the ultimate like soundproof space room.
That thing looks
so
awesome.
Weird. Yeah. So we've gone over quite a few of the differences or the similarities between the 12 Pro and the 12. So let's jump over to what exactly the 12 Pro has. One of the things that it actually has is the standard Pro, the iPhone 12 Pro, the what I call the normal size, is 6.1. So it's the same size as the iPhone 12, where the 12 Pro Max is getting a little bit of an upgrade from the 11 Pro Max size. This one goes up to 6.7. I can't remember off the top of my head what the iPhone 11 Pro Max is. 6.5. Yeah. So you get a little bit more screen, and it's in the same form factor as far as like actual dimensions and stuff. With them trimming off that curved edge, you actually get a little bit more area for the screen to fit in, which I think is pretty sweet. But the big thing,
it is slightly bigger.
Yeah, and I think that's probably
like minimally slightly. Like we're talking 6.22 inches on the 11 Pro Max versus 6.33 inches.
Yeah. So, I mean, just very, very little. Yeah. But the big difference between like the 12 and the 12 Pros is they have implemented the LIDAR scanner that we saw come out in the iPad Pros for 2020. And the big deal with this is they've always pushed AR, but I don't think AR is what really is going to make this thing great yet. what it's really cool for is nighttime focusing.
Yeah.
So you are now able to take nighttime portrait photos where before you couldn't. If there was low light, you couldn't take those photos at
Right.
all. But now with the LIDAR scanner, it doesn't need light to be able to detect where things are. It's using magic and voodoo to be able to determine where everything is in time and space.
Yes.
So I think that's a super cool feature. They also mentioned something along the lines that with the LiDAR scanner, autofocus works like I think something like 6 times faster than what it would typically work, which that's super nice because, you know, if you ever watch any YouTube videos, you'll see people that are standing right in front of the camera and the camera can't figure out like what to focus on. Where with an iPhone in this LiDAR scanner, it's going to always know to focus on the thing that is like dominating the screen. And if it detects a human or a face, and it can basically say, that's the thing that I'm pretty sure that I need to focus on. So let's focus on that. I do wonder, and I think that this is something that they didn't mention, is if they allow third-party applications to control that LiDAR scanner for their focusing within their camera apps, like how big of a difference that's going to make with the way that you do different type of in and out focus type stuff with those third-party apps. Could you basically say, okay, here's all the objects in the frame. I want to click on this one, and then I want it to focus on this one, and it could basically track those throughout the entire video or the photo, even as you're moving, and know exactly what to focus on and what not to focus on. So I think there's a lot of potential for some neat stuff with this LiDAR scanner.
Yeah. I have nothing to add.
Yeah. Other than the 3 cameras, I mean, we saw the 3 cameras last year, the ultra wide, the wide, and the telephoto. You do get a little bit better aperture on the iPhone 12 Pro Max in one of the lenses, and so that will allow you to zoom in and out a little bit more, and it'll also make for even more dynamic nighttime photos and videos with that particular lens when you're using the iPhone 12 Pro Max versus the 12 Pro and versus the 12. But the big thing is that you can really tell that Apple is focusing on high-end quality photos and videos because they're doing that the raw photo thing, the Apple raw photo,
Pro-raw.
and then they're also Pro raw, and they're also they are the first. They claim they're the first. What is it? Dolby Vision HDR video camera out there on the market, which is insane to me because that means we get to record things like 10-bit video, and there's some insane amount of extra color capturing capability with this Dolby Vision HDR, and it can do it on the fly. And there's high-end cameras that won't even do this. And here we are talking about a phone that's going to go in our pockets that could potentially record higher-end quality videos than what a lot of professional cameras can do.
You sent me a message yesterday, and we're talking about a starting price $1,100 phone, and you were like, there are $4,000 cameras that don't do this.
Right. To me, this is the culmination of Apple making hardware and Apple making software for years and years and years, and knowing exactly how all this stuff works together, that they can make really crazy stuff happen in something that is a daily used item instead of you having to go out and buy a specialty item for it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I am very, very excited to see the quality of this when it comes to making some of my YouTube videos, because as you know, I use the GoPro Hero 9, but I also use my iPhone. And honestly, the iPhone my 10s Max just captures a crisper image than the GoPro does. I can't use the iPhone for obviously POV footage because it's just not designed for that. But for my still shot photos that are indoors, it just dominates the GoPro by far. And this thing, I can't even imagine. I think it's gonna be insane. I think it'll help me out a lot as somebody who doesn't really quite have all of the how to do photography and videography type stuff down with the white balance and all that rigmarole. I'm trying to learn it, but I think this phone will take a lot of that complexity out of it, and I'm super pumped about that.
I want to talk about just the actual like construction of the phone for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
So the 12 and the 12 mini will be aluminum. The Pro and the Pro Max, the edge band will be stainless steel. And the back is glass. They also talked about their new screens. So their screens are alive, question mark. They're calling it ceramic shield, and they have some sort of crystalline structure that grows in between the molecules of glass. And so it's supposed to be rated 4 times better on drop performance. And so, I don't know, all those times that you drop your phone face down and it's Schrodinger's cat for just a little bit, and you're wondering, okay, when I pick it up and look, is it going to be cracked or not?
Right.
You have 4 times
Yeah.
more likelihood that your cat is still alive, basically.
Your cat is still alive.
So yeah, those were the 2 things I wanted to mention.
Yeah, gosh, Chad, I'm just looking at this thing and
It's so pretty.
Dude, it's awesome.
Okay, so
it's such a cool looking phone.
If you want to get yours, this podcast comes out on 10/15 at 6 a.m. You can pre-order the iPhone 12 at 7 a.m. So if you're listening to this the moment that it drops, quick, go to apple.com and pre-order your new iPhone 12. That's it.
Yeah,
that's
for
my
sure.
PSA.
For sure. Yeah, I am oh geez, Chad. I was in the market for me a phone, which I won't be able to pre-order mine till November 6th because the Mini and the Pro Max don't come out for pre-order until November 6th. But the 12 and the 12 Pro are available, like you said. But what's got me is you sent me a screenshot of if you have an iPhone 8 or newer,
Yes.
and you're on the AT&T plan and you sign up for a 30-month contract, which is long for a lot of people. Some people like to do the 1 year or the 2-year upgrade. This is 2.5 years, but you can basically get the phones for free. Because they'll give you an insane credit, like $800.
$800
And
on
so-
an 8 or newer, and if you have a 6, 6S, or 7, they'll give you $350.
Yeah. So my kids are both on 8 pluses, and I had no plans to upgrade them. But my oldest daughter, Lexi, was going to get my 10s Max, and she was going to basically pay the $100 or whatever I've got left on the phone to pay my phone off, and I was going to upgrade to the 12 Pro Max. But now I'm in the predicament of, do I just upgrade everybody in the family because I can trade their phones in and not have any additional cost per month, and everybody can have new phones? And
So
but
for me, everybody in the family is just me and my wife still, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just upgrading everyone in the
I
family.
know. Oh, it's just so crazy. Like I went from like, I'm just going to get a phone. Everybody else is okay with their phones. Nobody's asking to upgrade. But then I'm like, Well, shoot, Chad, if I don't upgrade their 8s this year, the 8s next year will probably only be eligible for that $350. Like you you can't you go and buy an 8 brand new and it's like
Right.
$400 and they're going to give me $800 worth of credit.
Right.
It's almost like if I don't, I I will be kicking myself in a year because they're going to want to upgrade within a year or maybe 2 years at the most. I would say one more year on the 8 because those phones are ultimately becoming outdated with the more and more phones being pushed towards the buttonless home button on the front.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might be in the predicament of upgrading every single phone in my family.
So Verizon also has a special offer that isn't as good. I don't know. It's over 24 months. You pay $15 a month.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not as good. AT&T is really pushing hard with this promotion. And I talked with a guy that we work with, and he said Verizon did a similar thing as to what AT&T was doing this year, but they did it last year.
Gotcha.
So who knows? Maybe they're on some like weird
Every other year, you
rotational
guys can give
basis.
away free phones.
Right. I mean, it would be nice to have everybody up on the latest phone, especially if I can just give AT&T my old phones and say, give me new.
Right? Here's old. I want
So,
new.
yeah. So, well, I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of details that we missed, but you know what? There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out over the next few weeks, especially whenever these phones come out. And then not to mention, we've joked about this over the last week that pretty much there might be another Apple event. And so it's like every month we get an Apple event at the end of 2020.
To help
So
you through the
November,
quar.
yeah. So in November, we might see another Apple event where we might see things like Apple AirTags or the new over-the-ear AirPods or the new Apple Silicon showing up in MacBooks. So who knows what Apple's going to do? This might just be a slow rollout of all the new things and all the rumors that we've talked about over the last 6 months. But I think the next month is going to be full of iPhone talking quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll mention one last thing. When they were showing like the MagSafe stuff yesterday, that's what it's called, right? MagSafe.
Mm-hmm.
They showed a charger and they do have a MagSafe charger ready to go. It's $39, but they have a Duo. I can't remember exactly what they called it, Duo something, but put your phone on one side and your watch on the other side, and the thing folds up. So that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
It's supposed to be
That's really
handy for
cool.
travel and that sort of stuff, but it is not available yet. So hopefully it's not the new AirPower Mat and it never actually comes out because I kind of like it.
Yeah, I think with the MagSafe charging thing, puck thing that they've got, I don't even know if it's a mat. I don't know what to call it, but with that one that they already came out with, I bet you it's just the same technology, I'm hoping, but for your watch and for your phone. And so it's easy for them to produce. They're just waiting for some
they
reason.
just don't have it yet.
Yeah, I am definitely with you. I hope they come out with it because I feel like we went through a time period of Apple announcing things and them not coming out with the stuff.
Yeah.
So no announcement unless product is available is my liking. You know, don't even show us if it's not ready to come out within the next month. So, but well, I think that's it. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us on all the streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube now. Mike got us back up last week's episode. It's on YouTube.
Yes.
We have a website, LunchTimeTechTalk.com, where you can listen to old episodes and browse show notes and all that good stuff. Oh, we have a Patreon page, and I had a really good thought for Patreon. It's a little late now, but I think next time there's an event, hashtag maybe next month, we should watch it together and we should film ourselves watching it and have like our instant reaction to certain things. And then Mike, you could totally edit it down to only the good parts, and we should post that on Patreon.
That's a good idea. Let's try to plan that.
So we have a Patreon, patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. We also have social media stuff. We have a Facebook and an Instagram, Lunchtime Tech Talk. We have Twitter, Lunchtime Tech T1. You can find me on TikTok, Snapchat, Weight Watchers, Instagram, currently Facebook, but maybe not for very long again. MSU Mac, that's MSUMACC. Mike, where you at?
I am on runbikemike.com, and you can go there and you can check out all of my social media and links to my YouTube and anything else that I'm doing for my Run Bike Mike stuff. But yeah, definitely go out there and check out MSU Mac on TikTok, because your boy Chad has some crazy singing and rapping abilities that I don't understand. It's like it is the Wi-Fi of words to me, because
It's just magic.
It's like there's little wizards. It's little wizards in your head conducting all of it. I don't get it. My whole family doesn't understand how you do it, but somehow it happens. So yeah, go check that out. And for sure, I'm sure we'll have more stuff next week regarding the iPhones as more information leaks out. And hope you guys like this one, and we will see you next week.
See you then. Bye.